right, so go ahead and state your name and tell me your ride. What are we looking at?
Anthony Vincent. I have a 2020 Cayman 718 GT4.
Oh my goodness. And when I saw you pull up, especially with that gray color, I was just enamored with it. I've always been a Porsche fan. My dad always wanted a 911, but he got married and had kids, so it didn't happen for him. But go ahead and tell me, have you always been a Porsche guy? Why the Cayman? Just tell me your experience with the brand.
Well, I was a longtime BMW driver, and then I got disenchanted with the complexity and weight of their cars. I felt they were getting away from the motorsport mentality and too much into sort of a hybrid luxury sport GT car rather than sports cars, and It just wasn't for me.
They were trying to do it all, and so then you switched over to Porsche, and what have you kind of noticed?
Well, definitely more of a motorsport theme, and they're more true sports cars. And like all the manufacturers, Porsche has grown bigger and a little more complex too. The 911s have continued to get bigger, but compared to what else is out there in the market, they still tend to be more dedicated, focused, purpose-built sports cars. I had a 911 before this. I had a Carrera T, which was a great car, and then I traded that for this one a couple of years ago. And you're able to feel the road with a car like this in a way that other modern cars, in my opinion, you just can't.
I agree 100%. Other than maybe like the Evora GT or something like that, a Porsche 911, or in this case, the mid-engine Cayman GT4. I mean, you have the GT line Porsche, which is just phenomenal. I'm glad you shared with your experience with the handling characteristics and the driver's experience. Now tell me, I'm assuming this isn't your daily, kind of what are the other rides you have at the house that kind of support this car?
It is my daily. In fact, it's my only car. I've got 31,000 miles on it in 2 years during the pandemic, where I wasn't driving to work every day. So that's a lot of miles. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I figure if I need to drive somewhere, I want to drive with some enjoyment and purpose. And a car like that gives it to you every time. So I don't want to drive anything else. That's the only thing I drive.
That's refreshing to hear, because even me, I have my daily and then I have my stuff, and it's just like, I appreciate the fact that you're taking this car and you're using it as its purpose. I really appreciate that. Now tell me, are you like a motorsports fan? Are you more like a car show or a cars and coffee guy? Or what kind of got you into the car culture?
I guess just, when I was a kid, I grew up around it. My stepdad went to, he was an engineer from General Motors Institute, so he was a car guy. He always had cool cars. That influenced me, and all my friends were into cars. My first real job, I worked at a car dealership for years through high school. Then after that, I put myself through college working at a rental car company. I've just always liked cars. So I'm not a racer. I'm more of a canyon driver, enthusiast kind of guy. My son, who's 16, races and is probably going to race professionally. So it's kind of in the family a little bit, but I just like going out with the windows down the coast, through the canyons, up through the mountains, just
absolutely. It. Same here, because, in being in Temecula Valley, we have the Ortegas. We can cruise down 30 minutes to Palomar Mountain. We have all the wineries to drive through. So yeah, I appreciate your sentiment on that. Could you describe, we're almost done here, don't worry. Could you describe to kind of the viewers or the people listening, why should they consider a Porsche and why shouldn't they? Elephant in the room, the $450 oil changes and the maintenance and stuff like that. Could you just tell us, Could you just tell us why and why not Porsche?
Well, in my opinion, it's the only manufacturer that makes a dependable, very high performance car. And I mean in terms of the feel of the car. Like, you could get very fast cars, obviously electrification, those cars are incredibly fast. All the M products now are like crazy fast, faster than what I drive, but they don't feel like this. So if you want a car that's really purpose-built, motorsport oriented, that is dependable, and unlike a McLaren or something exotic like that, Lotus, great cars, but like, if it breaks down, what's your service network like? You can't...
9 months for a part.
You're not going to daily a car like that with a lot of dependability. Porsche is the only manufacturer that can give you something with that performance that you could drive every day and put hundreds of thousands of miles on the car and beat the hell out of it, which I do. I mean, and nothing's broken.
That's great. That's great to hear. And again, maintenance-wise, what's been your experience?
Well, it's still a relatively new car. The only thing I've had to pay for is the 20,000 mile service, which wasn't cheap. It was like $1,600 for like an air filter and oil change and checking, the vitals and whatever. So that sucks, but that going into it.
Yeah,
There's no surprise there.
I agree. And I just want everyone to know that. Last question, California, you did kind of bring it up. California wants to transition to electrification in the next 15 to 20 years. What are your thoughts of electric cars and the future of the car culture?
Well, I mean, I think like most people, I mourn the eventual death of, internal combustion engines. It's going to come. It'll be a niche market, obviously, for a long, long time. But manufacturers are all moving away from it. And, it's sad to see it happen. I think I'm probably like a lot of the people here, electrification, I understand benefits of it. But I think it's overhyped in terms of what it can bring and the benefit to carbon emissions and the overall sort of environmental benefit. The lithium argument, you can debate whether that's good or bad. Disposal of the batteries, good or bad. You're burning coal to get the energy in the first place, and if we're going to build more nuclear infrastructure, maybe that changes in time. But I think people are overestimating the environmental benefit of electric cars. And, they're very practical, but they're also boring as hell. I mean, we were just in Italy for a month.
Oh, wow.
And we rented a Tesla while we were there. It was a brand new Model 3 dual motor. And it was one of the most boring, bland experiences I've ever had in a car. And so until the other manufacturers start bringing compelling electric cars to the market, I'm just not going to be interested in it. And I wouldn't do it for the environmental benefit because I think I think there's a false perception about how great that benefit is. And I think if people trace the supply chain back, they're going to see that there's a lot of, carbon footprint that's happening to get to that electrification. And we're just not there yet. Maybe 10, 15 years from now, but I don't
Maybe, but we don't see it. And I'm glad just a lot of people mentioned the infrastructure. I can go to a gas station in 10 minutes. I can go 300 miles versus I got to go find the Target parking lot and I got to plug in for an hour. And, this one's not taking my credit card. Let me go to the next one. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I'm just going to do a couple walk arounds of your car and just enjoy the beauty of it. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks.